and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu, Soni, your host for the broadcast and editor-in-chief at CIO News. This is our exclusive fireside chat powered by Zoom on the topic of future of customer experience and collaboration. It is a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It is my pleasure to invite our guest for today. We have Arindam, the co-founder and chief executive officer from Nextleap. Arindam is a seasoned technology leader with more than a decade of product experience and has led product design and engineering teams in organizations across India and US. Prior to starting Nextleap, he led consumer experience and growth at Flipkart for 7 years and has launched several product lines, including Flipkart Plus, Supercoins, video games, travel, and vernacular support. Arindam has been, in the industry from, decades, and he has wide experience across all these segments. Arindam, it's a pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Khushbu, for having me. Glad to be here.
Perfect. I'm also accompanied by Sameer Raje, the General Manager and Head of India and SAARC region from Zoom. Sameer joined Zoom in April 2019 to start and grow its operations in the country and is responsible for leading strategic initiatives, operations, pre-sales, sales, customer success, support, and general management function. Sameer has previously held senior leadership positions in technology MNCs, including Cisco, IBM, and Microsoft during his career, where he built and led high-profile teams across pre-sales, sales, and support. Sameer, it's a pleasure to have you again.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be meeting Arindam once again on a different forum. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. To begin our discussion on future of customer experience and collaboration, my first question is for you, Arindam. We've seen employee engagement and experiences mostly dependent on the seamless performance of collaboration platform and or that organizations has deployed. So if you can share your insights and how you've been driving collaboration and providing work from home users, the platform, and how you're actually ensuring adherence to HR and compliance guidelines.
Sure, absolutely. I think it's been quite a shift over the last couple of years since the pandemic kind of set in, and the change in consumer behavior. And I think it's brought to the fore about what employees expect, right? And earlier, if you think about it, there was a bit of a clear boundary between, like, okay, in the morning hours, you will be at your workplace, you'll commute to your workplace, and after that, that commute back was kind of you're crossing over to the other side where you'll get back home. With the pandemic kind of setting in and people working from their homes initially, and now it's moved to working from anywhere, those boundaries kind of started to blend a lot more, and which is where kind of you were always in work mode or you were always in a home mode, like, and it was kind of a mix of the two. And that's what brought the challenge, as well as the opportunity for organizations to also start kind of really treating their employees as kind of humans first, right, versus kind of their employees, because as humans, everyone has those needs on the family front, and it made a lot of the organizations a lot more empathic towards their kind of best assets, right, their employees. And I think that's what we have kept at the forefront, even at Nextleap, and we've been kind of running Nextleap for the last 1+ years. And I think one of the foundational pieces which we put in was that we kind of would be kind of working together, but at the same time respect each other's kind of personal lives as well. And that kind of led to a set of working culture that we set out, which made sure that while there were flexible hours, but there were certain boundaries which we were kind of creating. Like, for example, the very first half of the mornings every day are kind of the no meeting zones, right? Wherein you are carving out that time for people to work on their own pieces so that they can think. Otherwise, once you start getting into the meeting fatigue, right, you're getting into repeated meetings one after the other, you are getting short on time on how to think yourself, and that kind of impacts your productivity as well. Similarly, we started kind of also bringing people together through kind of activities which were like, for example, every Mondays we have learning sessions because we are a learning company ourselves. And to foster that learning culture, every Mondays we have learning sessions where each team member shares some knowledge from their own domain with the rest of the team. So everyone gets to learn something new, and those can be as diverse as clay modeling to kind of even painting. So many times outside of work as well, which brings a lot of people together and also helps people understand their other kind of peers' work a lot better. We have kind of started doing lunch in hours as well, like the teams getting together and grabbing lunch together. So those are the things which foster relationship building between and among the team members, which goes a long way to actually make sure the bond that is supposed to be there between and among the team members is preserved. Because in a remote setup, and we are a remote first company, in a remote setup, that becomes very, very important. How do you bring out that cultural element? How do you actually establish those bonds and relationships among people so that the productivity can be boosted? And those are things which have worked out really, really well for us. Similar such initiatives, quite a few of them that we have put in place.
Fantastic. Good to hear the kind of environment that you've created, the culture that you're bringing in Next Leap. On that, my similar line of question is for Soni. We know hybrid workplace isn't a choice anymore for organizations, and especially for digital natives. Also, when Arindam mentioned that Next Leap is remote first organization. How have you seen? What are the typical key challenges in adapting to this new environment, business environment?
Absolutely. Thank you, Khushbu, for that. And, if I was listening to Arindam and then making mental notes, and it's quite intriguing. And, if you look at what all the points that he mentioned, like remote first, hybrid working environment, work from anywhere. If I have to condense this, if I have to summarize all this, it comes out in two factors. First, it's all about the employee experience. That is, employee happiness, where they work from, how they work from. It's their freedom of choice. It's not about hybrid. It's not about remote working. It's about the employee. It's about employee happiness. And when he spoke about productivity, he spoke about ensuring that remote first or working from anywhere and all that. It links to the next element, which is the customer happiness or the CX, as we call it. Now, obviously, we all know that EX is directly proportional to CX, because the more the employee is happy and driven and feels like, why go far away if it is Zoom? And people ask me, why do I, it's been like more than 3 years. You've been doing this, it's my baby. I belong to Zoom and Zoom belongs to me. It's like that, right? And sometimes I get a question, are you detachable from Zoom? And my answer is, well, as our CEO says, the day when I get up and go to work or walk from my room to my work room, and I have to ask my question, what am I going to do today? Well, that's the day when I need to start thinking whether I'm in the right place or the right time. So it's all about employee experience and customer experience. And when you look at this, and when companies start thinking about this and start thinking about hybrid and remote and all those, that technical jingle, if I may say that, then it becomes very, very easy, because you're trying to keep your employees happy. You're trying to keep your customers happy. And when these two things work together, and that's where a digital native is born. What is digital native? Digital native is adoption of digital tools to empower the employees and keep the customers happy. That's all it is all about. And if you look at digital native, some of the very successful digital native organizations, they have started from somebody's backyard or a coffee shop, or even maybe park somewhere, and where two or three founders with very little capital have started working, and suddenly found that yes, they are delivering that customer happiness, employees are coming on board, they are happy and starting to deliver. So that is a digital native. So that this particular transformation, what we are seeing, is on the organization sides. But what we tend to forget is during the pandemic and during this last 2 years, the consumers have changed, the way they consume, the way they are demanding. Because on one hand, we have a new age of children and people who have never gone to school. On the other hand, we have senior citizens who were never involved in online things, and suddenly are attending prayer meetings and even condolences meeting online, and so on and so forth. So even the consumers have changed, and hence it's important for even a non-tech savvy organization to transform and ask themselves a question: are we really digital native, and do we need to be digital native? The answer is yes, everybody needs to be digital native today, and that can be achieved only through CX and EX. And hybrid or remote working, I think, is thing of past. It's more about employee and customer happiness, because that's what the customers demand. And these customers, who have suddenly become digital native, digitally demanding, they don't call up a toll-free number, they don't call up a helpline to ask for support. They go on Twitter and they go on Facebook and start ranting out their frustrations, and that's very difficult to deal with, right? And if I have to talk about Zoom, we went through all this. We experienced firsthand, and we adopted to this very well.
Very rightly said. I think it's about the EX and CX. We spoke about employee experience. On customer experience, Arindam, if you can share, how do you measure customer experience, and if you can share some of the light on the techniques of emerging customer experience strategies.
Sure. Yeah, I think since we are in the learning space, I think customer experience gets measured slightly differently as compared to kind of in a lot of other companies like e-commerce, etc. The way it's different is in learning. The core thing which is different is that learning evokes certain emotions, and the way you measure the learner experience needs to be able to capture what is that emotion getting evoked. Because when you're truly learning, you get those emotions of surprise or joy or excitement and things like that. So, and that's what makes it a bit tricky on how to kind of measure it. In learning, the learner experience is kind of a bit tricky to measure, because in learning, you are also trying to figure out what are the emotions getting evoked. Because true learning, when it happens, it evokes the positive emotions of kind of joy, excitement, surprise. And how do you actually measure that? And the way we have been kind of thinking about it is trying to simplify it into what we call as the ABC of learning, where A is more about the attendance. Are the learners attending the live sessions where the learning is happening? B is more for the behavior, where are the learners kind of engaging with their peers, asking questions to the instructors, how active are they in the community, the learning community. That's the behavior part of it. And C is more for the course completion. Are they actually completing the tasks of the assignment, submitting the capstone projects, which basically showcases are they applying the learning, right? And through these we are able to kind of figure out the overall learning experience for each and every learner. At the same time, what we realized was in the industry today, a lot of the learner experience was measured through an NPS score, which is administered right towards the end of the learning program. And we realized that it's very difficult to act on an NPS score, which is just a score, and you can be very happy about a very high score or be dejected about the low score, but it's not actionable as such, right? So which is why what we have started doing is to break down that NPS to kind of understand at the end of every session or every activity that they're going through, what is the experience that they are kind of going through. So it's
fantastic. On that, Sameer, if you can also share what, according to you, are the new building blocks or technologies for CIOs and tech leaders to ensure customer delight?
Well, once again, taking a cue from Arindam, and but I would keep on saying that because it resonates so much when I hear from senior leaders like Arindam and rest of the members of the team on what we are doing at Zoom, you know, and if I have to take a step behind and talk about maybe around 11, 12 years back when Zoom was formed, that was the whole theme, that was the whole idea to form a friction-free video-first communication and collaboration platform. Well, quite a lot of wordings out there: friction-free communication, collaboration platform, video first. But if you look at the theme of it, and if you look at where we are today, it will all make sense because Zoom is probably the only platform where video comes first, and everything else surrounds around it. The result was simple: that Zoom is scalable. You can invite 50,000 participants in a meeting at any given moment of time, not a problem. Now. Our infrastructure and network is capable of adjusting to the rising bandwidths as well as the lower bandwidths and so on and so forth. Why am I talking about all this? Well, to your question, the point is tools, the digital tools, the CIOs and leaders, and taking a cue again from Arindam, which is about the emotions involved in the education industry. When a student is learning, how do we ensure that is taken care of or captured or capitalized? A simple thing: when a student of or a classroom of 10 people, there is one student who's lagging behind, doesn't understand what's going on in the classroom, wants to chat with the teacher independently. How does he or she do it? Right? Can the teacher actually identify that? When they are doing splitting this session of 50 people or 20 students into multiple sessions, and actually can you see what's happening in each of the session? Similarly, what is written out here, can I scribble something real time in a classroom in a hybrid kind of setup, and that be capitalized by somebody sitting in the remote location? It's some format of capturing the emotions. Well, we have not yet reached a stage where probably all the emotions can be captured, but yes, that's what we are heading towards. Like, for example, we have recently introduced for all if I could put my thumbs up and it could capture on the screen automatically, or you could be talking to my persona or a different kind of an avatar out here. Maybe you're talking to a dog face or a cat face and so on and so forth. But that is coming. That is what we are trying to do, and that's why Zoom keeps on evolving. And again, to your question, Khushbu, there was a time when leaders and technologies could actually choose a tool, choose an application which works for them, meaning which fits their budgets, which fit their technology or their perception of technology and budget, and roll that out. Today, it's very different. During the pandemic, when this was the case, actually the employees, teachers, professionals, even the banking industry, CIOs and CISOs quickly realized that the tools that they had given were not working at home, and the employees were working tools of their choice, devices of their choice. Hey, you know what? The laptop you've given, it doesn't work. I conduct my meetings via, and this has actually happened with me when I was talking to one of the banks, right? The banking employee was using a personal device, and I said, you don't have any security concern? No, sir, that's fine. This is my personal thing. But at the back of the mind, you should know that when an employee or any employee is working from home, they are actually their own chief information security officers. They need to safeguard the device. They need to safeguard the organization, what they are sharing. It could be as simple as they're sitting in a cafeteria and all the information is being looked upon by somebody else who is passing by, right? From there on. So it's very important for the leaders and the technology specialists to understand what works at the ground level, what works in reality, and provide tools which are working in the real life. That's the first thing. The second thing, we spoke about employee experience, and I was in a conversation with a very senior leader of an industry, a CIO of a very large bank, and he says, my problem is, today my employees, when they come to work, wherever they are, they might be coming to office or they might be logging in from home, they don't even want to log in. When they start their laptop or machine, they want a simple dashboard: what needs to be done today, what is the important thing, and within that they want to click. They don't even want to exit the application. They want to fire applications within applications and start using it. They want to use it within the same workflow, within the same environment. We are talking about so technically advanced people that they are unwilling to use multiple tools for multiple things. So probably the tools, the devices, the applications which were thought are working at the technology level, at the group level, are not working at the employees. So it's very important for technology leaders, industry leaders, veterans, and even CFOs, right, to understand, because we recently heard about organizations losing huge number of people just because they were asked to come back to office locations. They are not coming back. If we continue to do that, it's not going to deliver the employee happiness. Hence, what is important and what we are seeing in the industry is that the industry leaders, decision makers are now partnering with businesses, partnering with employees to ensure that they are giving them the right tools and enabling them, rather than pushing some technology or pushing some devices and saying that, hey, this is our choice, start using it. This is what it is, otherwise you don't get anything else. Those days are gone. Today it is more about collaboration. Today it's more about empowering the businesses and partnering with businesses, rather than just setting a direction that this is the way that needs to be achieved.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. My next question is, Arindam, for you. What are the opportunities that you see digital collaboration can provide businesses? I think a lot we could also hear in the whole conversation from CX, EX perspective, and how other functions are leveraging digital platforms. If you can add, what opportunities digital collab can provide businesses, and which business process can be improved through digital collaboration.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a world of opportunity emerging, especially because, as Samir was also mentioning, a lot of the companies will be going through this digital transformation period now, right? Having undergone this pandemic or gone through this pandemic phase. Now, if you think about the kind of spaces where the opportunities will lie in, obviously it's going to be very different, unique to the different industries that each company is operating in. But I think a few common elements will be there. If you look at it from what we're terming as the employee experience part of it, and we're talking about employee happiness, as Samir was also mentioning, there are a few fundamental elements to that. One is kind of in the offline world where people were able to form those closer bonds and those relationships with their peers. How do you facilitate that in a completely digital environment, or a mix of digital and a kind of a physical environment? And how do you do it on a recurring basis? Because in the offline world, wherein you could easily walk up to someone's desk and have a casual chat, in the digital world, I would still say there are a lot of those kind of rigid boundaries still there. And how do you make it very, very seamless so the technology does not kind of come in the way? And that's the best form of technology, which does not come in the way. And the moment that gets unlocked, you can see like very seamless collaboration across kind of employees, also kind of helping you boost your productivity. So that's definitely one of the pieces. The second thing is kind of, there is a lot of knowledge exchange that happens within companies as well, amongst kind of peers, amongst employees. In the digital world, how do you actually ensure a very seamless sharing of knowledge? You have a lot of different tools that are there, but I don't think there is an organized way of kind of searching through older conversations or older emails, or kind of a particular conversation that came up in a certain discussion. How do you actually do that? And that's going to be another very, very big opportunity area. And a lot of companies have started getting into that now, as I've been reading. But I feel there's a very big need for it, because otherwise a lot of tribal knowledge can very easily disappear also if you don't attack that problem. So I think that's the second one. And the third piece is all of these things, if done well, can make your employees also ambassadors for the company. So far, if you look at employer branding that has happened, it's largely been through social media posts and things like that. But imagine if employees become your ambassadors, talking about the employer's culture, the organization culture, what goes on, etc., on a regular basis. Right? So the employer branding can be leveled up to a certain stage where kind of a lot of potential kind of employees can also get attracted, can become a very big talent magnet. And I think that's another very big opportunity area if played out well. So those are some of the opportunity areas I see from the employee experience side of things. Similarly, from a customer experience side of things, also, if you look at it, the customer goes through a certain journey when using your digital product. Now, the challenge that most companies will now start facing is that with so many companies coming onto the digital world or the digital bandwagon, you are competing for attention from a limited amount of time that the consumer has, right? So, because earlier maybe there were 2 companies that the user was using, now that the consumer is using maybe 10 different products, right? So, but the amount of time, unless and until that increases, your share of that time will definitely keep getting reduced. So how do you actually address that? And I feel that can be addressed only when you are building out your product in a way where the stored value in the product actually keeps increasing. With the more you use it, the stored value in the product keeps on increasing, which makes you keep coming back to the product again and again, because there's already a lot of value that you have kind of created, or you've invested in it, and you don't want to kind of move on. So I think a lot of focus will go on engagement and retention, as we kind of loosely call it, versus only acquisition. In the last few years, a lot of the focus has been on the acquisition side of things. But I think as we move forward, because you are competing for that share of time and attention, a lot of the focus will move towards engagement and retention. So I think that those are kind of some of my thoughts on this particular topic. Yeah.
Great, fantastic. On that, Sameer, your thoughts, and if you can share some of the successes that organizations can have with the new normal and with the opportunities that Arindam mentioned about.
Absolutely, and I think I echo all the points that Arindam just mentioned. I mean, if you look at collaboration today, collaboration is, what is collaboration? What is digitization? What is transformation? What is digital natives? Right? If you look at all this, you're talking of leveraging digital tools. We're talking of thinking about employee experience. We're talking about customer experience, right? So in this entire thing, it is not a video meeting which is there, right? And all the workflows that Arindam just mentioned, right from how do we have those offline conversations? How do we have those communication repositories? What was spoken about in the corner of the room, or maybe somewhere in one of the huddle rooms? Where is all that? Similarly, if the customers using multiple digital tools, and there are project teams, and there are multiple teams dealing with the customer, who is interacting what and where is getting repository. Similarly, I'm working from home. Some of my team members may be in office. How does everybody get equal opportunity? How does everybody get equal information? Well, that's what we are doing at Zoom. We're trying to bring all this together, and we've succeeded to a very great extent on that. And that's what the entire future of collaboration. That's future of collaboration. I mean, collaboration sometime back was just about video meetings, right? In the last few years, this has transformed completely. Zoom has transformed completely. We've moved from being just a video communication platform. We've come to a very large extent, such as instant messaging and chat, where today all my employees who join in today, and I have close to about 250 plus employees in the country. Most of them I have not even met. And I'm trying to meet them as much as possible now, because a lot of them were hired during the pandemic time. We scaled up very fast. All of them who join, they have access to all the information which happened in the past, which was even, somebody had chatted or put it in the chat rooms and so on and so forth. So they don't have, all they have to do is scroll through the past information and search it, and it comes up. Similarly, inclusion, for example, right? I mean, somebody is not able to join the all hands meeting. I mean, sometimes we have our US centric and EMEA centric all hands meetings, which are late night or early morning. It's not possible to do during the India time, because India time is very odd for that. Well, you know what? A lot of employees miss joining that. Do they sit and listen to that 1 hour of recording for the all hands meeting? Because everybody is eager to hear the CEO, what's happening next, what's coming up, right, from the executive leadership. Well, we don't. We just switch on the recording, play back, and the artificial intelligence in there just takes us through the key important points that we want to know, and that's it, done in 10 minutes, and we are out of it, and we get the key message, right? So uh, even sharing on the whiteboard and scribbled, somebody has missed the meeting, that gets captured and it's part of the instant messaging and chat, which is there. So what I'm trying to say is, if we look at collaboration world in a real technical sense and say that, oh, collaboration, I need to set up a huge device, I need to have X amount of bandwidth, and I need to do this and I need to do that, that's where collaboration fits. Today collaboration is not that. What Zoom has done is we've simplified collaboration. It's a collaboration platform which enables you to do anything and everything on your work of your workflow systems. All you need to do is embed it into your real life. That's it. It replicates the physical thing into a virtual format. We've had a lot of things, but again, I mean, I again second Arindam on the fact that yes, taking out physical out of human's life, it's not going to be possible, right? We love to meet, we love to sit down, we love to shake hands with each other, chit chat, do all that. That's not going to go away. But looking at collaboration platforms like Zoom and looking at it to empower and reinforce or increase the power of collaboration, bringing the physical and virtual worlds together to achieve more. That's the goal. Collaboration or virtual platforms are no longer those barriers where they are in silo and physical world is in silo. Somebody is not attended a virtual meeting, its information is not available. That's all gone. And it all can be mixed together. It all can be done if the right platforms are chosen, and that's what we are doing.
Great. It's been a great conversation with both Arindam and Sameer, and very, very great insights to look forward to. I'm sure viewers are going to have some key takeaways from this interview. Thank you so much for joining on this session today and sharing all your learnings and your insights for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure talking to both of you guys, Khushbu and Sameer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you, Arindam.